In the last video, I talked about how there can be this deeply habitual resistance to the flow of life that kind of lives in our nervous systems. And when our attention is resting in our bodies, this resistance can't survive. It kind of starts to release its grip, and the flow of life, or the Universal Principles of Entrainment, as I've been calling it, is able to sort of carry us toward our wholeness. So the purpose of the work that I'm doing at the Network Life Center is to sort of create the deep safety and ease in the system that will allow our attention to naturally rest in our bodies and therefore soften that habitual resistance to the flow of life. And the way that I do that is, in a way, I'm kind of like surfing the flow of life, or the force of wave of the Universal Principles of Entrainment myself. And I'm inviting the nervous system of the person I'm working with to come along for the ride by letting their system entrain to mine. And so what I do is I simply bring as much presence to the present moment as I can by letting my attention rest in my body and including everything that I find there as fully as possible. And then I include the person that I'm working with by letting my eyes rest on them. And immediately as I do that, I'm able to sort of feel the flow of the river of chi that is shared by both my body and theirs. And I can also feel where the boulders of resistance might be placed in that river. And so these sensations kind of guide me to bring my hands somewhere on or over the body of the person I'm working with. And when I've touched the right place with the right amount of force in the right direction, I can feel those boulders start to resolve, and as they sort of melt back into the river of chi. And it's immediately apparent that there's a resolution in the person I'm working with. As their breath changes, they reposition themselves, the tension in their system changes, there's an emotional release, they report feeling something shift, etc. And so that's some of the short-term stuff, but long-term, there's a measurable, reproducible, and predictable increase in range and depth of breath, a decrease in the overall tension in a person's body, a permanent change in their posture, a constructive shift in their perceptions of themselves and the world around them, an increased ability to adapt to stress, enhanced and refined body-mind awareness, a heightened sensitivity to their internal rhythms and the rhythms of their environment, an increased range and depth of emotional expression, and the most important thing, I'd say, a greater awareness of their gifts and a greater capacity to share those gifts with others. So these long-term changes have been reported in research that's been done by Donald Epstein, the creator of Network Spinal Analysis. And that's kind of the technique in the world that my work is born of. But I like to refer to some research that's done by an organization known as the Institute of Heart Math, the language and outcomes of which seem to be a better match to the work that I do. Their research shows that when a person brings their attention to their body, a special system-wide coherent state develops in that person's nervous system, whereby the various cyclical systems in the body, they start to synchronize and entrain to each other. And as a result of this, the research also shows that there are benefits to health and wellness and shifts in consciousness that happen as a result of residing in that state. And those are very similar to what I've observed in the work that I'm doing. And furthermore, what's really cool, their research demonstrates how this coherent state and its benefits can be actually transferred directly from the nervous system of one person or people to the nervous system of another person or a group of people via the information exchange that happens between their overlapping and entraining biofields. And this happens whether they're touching or not, again, which seems to explain the mechanism behind the work that I do. So when I'm working with folks here together, we're kind of creating a little oasis where the dominant pattern generator is one of connecting with resource in the system and reorganizing the system based on that sort of open-ended resource, which could also be called love, basically. So as opposed to what we're sort of generally entraining to in the outside world, which is something that says that the best strategy for living is to create some armor to separate ourselves from others and protect what we have, because it's not likely that there's going to be any more of that where that came from. So if you'd like to have the dominant pattern generator in your life and body be love, then go to networklifecenter.com and click on New Clients and follow the instructions. And I look forward to seeing you at the office, and I look forward to helping you express more life. Have a great day.